All right, Kokane, Code 187. How you guys doing?
We're good. We're
We're
good.
good, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having us here.
Appreciate you having us, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys, you know what I'm saying? I know you guys been in the game a long time, man. Two West Coast legends. You know, you guys been around a lot of people on the West Coast, man. You know, I'm just happy to have you guys here, man. The era, the early 90s, that's like my era of music.
That's right. That's right.
You know, that I come from. So,
Already.
you know, whenever I can interview somebody from that era, it's always a dope time for me. You know,
That's
so.
right.
Right on.
Salute.
For sure.
Salute.
For sure.
That.
Definitely, man. Well, I'd like to get into your guys' story a little bit, kind of get to know you guys. You know, I know a lot of people probably, know about you, but, we'll get into maybe dive a little deeper and, I'm saying, let the fans get to know a little bit about you. So, where'd you guys grow up at?
Well, we grew up in Pomona, California. It's the last city out of LA. And like with anything, it has your crime. Yeah, we've been murder city.
Yeah, we've been in the top 10.
Top 10.
Yeah.
But besides that, we also had an outlet for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? In the 80s, the mid 80s, it was a spot out there called Grand Central Station. I don't care where you, LA County Fairgrounds. Yeah. In order to come out, there, we had the LA County Fairgrounds, and a lot of people from surrounding cities used to migrate to Pomona, California. So
get that hip hop, yeah.
Okay. So we grew up there, and we had all type of different scenes. You had the gang banging scene. Yeah. You had the D-boy scene.
That's right.
You had the hip hop scene. So all rolled up into one. And we started off like in the 80s. Cuzzo started off before me. But, it was real big out there and real popular. And Pomona made big noise because we had to. Because anybody that came over the hill, they was like, Pomona?
Yeah.
Man, that sound country. You know what I mean? But once they came over the hill, they found out it was very real, though.
Yeah, because, it's like a baby L.A., basically. It kind of politics the way L.A. politics, but it's a small city. With a big name. And in the 80s, we was subjected to the gang violence, the drug trade, all those things. Which is how that was a blueprint of Above the Law and Cocaine, that whole scene in that 80s era, what was going on in our city as well as South Central.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of mirrored the, and Compton, because the Compton sound is what put us on. Eazy E and NWA, Dr. Dre and Laylaw put us on. So, yeah.
I remember Kokane, you come from a family of musicians, right?
Yeah, we both
do.
You both do.
We come from music royalty. A lot of people didn't know that, but years later, as we open up dialogue, they found out we come from a musical background.
Yeah.
Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, actually, my father's named Jerry Buddy Long Sr. I'm Jerry Buddy Long Jr., and he used to work with Motown. He was in charge of the working with the Funk Brothers. Some of his work that he worked on was Just My Imagination by The Temptation. Papa Was a Rolling Stone. Basically a slew of hits for Motown, as a rager, composer, and writer. So music was always embedded in our DNA. And plus, he could tell you too,
My dad was a writer and composer in Motown. He wrote for the Miracles, the Jackson 5. And then our uncle is Willie Hutch. So, which they all collectively collaborate on a lot of things. Willie Hutch did everything from the Mac, the Fifth Dimension, Foxy Brown, The Last Dragon. He wrote I'll Be There. The list goes on. That's our bloodline in music. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Not to make it so simple, but we grew up having music around us all our lives. So yeah. So it was easier for us to get the bug because it's in us, to start doing music. And when our legacy started off, they counted it. It's funny because it didn't have anything to do with that form of music. It actually was hip hop and reality rap at the time, which became gangster rap.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's why people don't really make the connection of our parents were like more prolific soul writers. They wrote soul music.
Right.
Basically, it's some of the greatest people we just named in the history of R&B and soul music. So,
that's our lineage.
Were
you guys automatically just drawn to music as kids, and you guys wanted to rap and to sing? And
yeah, I'm a musician. He's a musician. We both played instruments when we were young. You know, he plays we both play trumpet when we were growing up, and I play bass guitar, piano, and French horn. So yeah.
I mean, so the apple it fell off the tree properly.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, we can remember walking in studios when we were shorty, and the running board looked like a spaceship. You know what I mean? So, you know, music has always intrigued us.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here
To
today.
make it, I mean, you know, because sometimes when you don't really get it to actually compose or write music, and especially the form that the time that we came into music was a time where it was rebellious. The music was really rebellious. Well, you know that because you came up in that era, so you know it was kind of against the grain what our parents was doing and our uncle was doing. So, but they always taught us that you have to find your own path in music. You can't really emulate or imitate them unless you're true to that. So if we truly came up and had the outlook like them, I think they would have backed that as well. You know, they didn't really understand hip hop at the time because they came from a more musicians background, composers, writers, and we were taught to be writers, composers, musicians, artists like that. When rap took off, we kind of started gravitating to hip hop. So that's how that unfolded. That's why the music that we do is more musical because of our background first.
So you guys always knew what you wanted to do with your life from the very beginning.
No. we knew we had an interest in music, but just like young kids in the '80s, we was subjected to all kind of craziness that was going
suppression.
on. Yeah.
You know.
So I would say we was only caught up in the streets because our peers were, and at the time that was like the end thing to be about, and then where we from, that's all that was there. It wasn't like an outlet for music.
Right.
When we were hella young, and that era wasn't a lot of outlets for music out of Pomona. You know what I mean? You either were squared up or you was on the other side of the tracks. You know.
Right.
So no, we didn't really know until I was caught up in the streets so heavy that I could use music as an escape out of the streets. You know, that's when I kind of gravitated back to the music. You know.
At what point did you guys take music serious?
I would say when I was like 14 years old, you know, because my grandmother put me in a jazz band, and I used to play trumpet. So I used to listen to all kind of music in the household. We would have blues, jazz, 70s R&B, you know, but I didn't take it serious. You know what I mean? That was
a recreation part.
It was just my turning point was actually when I was 14 years old. And I used to be a battle rapper. You know, I could sing at the same time, but I used to, you know, I was a b-boy, you know, and that in the 80s they say MC now, but we used to use b-boy.
Right. Yeah.
And I started, you know, battle rapping at school, you know, so to speak. And then it just took off, and it got serious. And I used to watch him a lot. You know, do his things at different talent shows, concerts. Yeah. You know, he was doing it for a minute. You know, he had a different name for a group. It was a different set of people. Mm-hmm. And it just inspired me, man, because, you know, we also used to rap we used to call them the girlies back then, you know what I'm saying? And staying fresh. And it was just appealing to me because it already caught my eye with watching Curtis Blow, Grandmaster Flash, the list goes on. Fat Boys and all that. Mm-hmm. And I got real serious about it. And when he was doing his thing, you know, I was the young pupil, he was the sensei. But I would always follow behind him, and knowing that I come from a musical background, I was like, you know, it's time for me to do my thing.
At what point did you make the transition from rapper to singer?
Well, I was always singing.
He always was singing, yeah. When he first came in, when I first decided to do records with him, that's what he did. It was the two things.
So you were singing and rapping?
Yeah, coming through at the same time.
Way back in the early 80s.
Yeah, that's what I was, because just watching him, like he says, as me being a producer and already being in music heavy, because I probably got serious with music, I would say probably around when I was in like the 5th grade, I started studying. You know, my father said I wrote my first song when I was like 6. But I didn't know the value of music far as what it could actually, where it could take my life. You know, I had been studying jazz 12, 13 years old. I had my own jazz ensemble and all that kind of thing. And then I was also in the orchestra, and I also was in a choir marching band as well. So as I started growing into music a little bit more, and as things started taking course and I started seeing, I made my first deal when I was in high school with a group that I had called the Wizards of Rock. It was with a European company called Champion Records. We had a record called Got Good Thing, and college radio used to play it when we were in high school. So that's my first serious thing. And then me and KMG wrote and produced for an artist named Big Lady K right out of Riverside. And she was signed a Priority along when they first signed NWA and Eazy E. So, and I probably had to be 18, 17, 18, fresh out of high school type of thing. Like, and that's when I started really realizing the value of what entertainment can do, like to change your life, you know. But I still was hustling. I still really wasn't taking it serious because the streets made more money. It's the 80s, the drug trade, it's the crack game, the crack era, you know. So I didn't really believe it. I didn't really believe it was real until I met Eazy E, you know, as far as it really being something that professional. I always had music in my life as the thing that kind of like, you know, you do something in your life that kind of keeps you level, keep you, you know, I have a reason to live because I got music, basically. I can always go back to the music and feel good about myself. No matter how much I'm in the streets doing wild, being wild, I got music, you know. So we kept coming back to music, and me, KFG, rest in peace, DJ Chaos, Gomac, we formed Above the Law, and then we took off from there. And that's when we knew it was real, when Eazy wanted to sign us.
Yeah.
From there, him and Dre wanted to sign us.
How did you guys meet everybody?
I met Eazy through Laylaw, which was through Gomac, through when we had a mutual friend that knew all of them. And at the time they were just starting Ruthless Records. And we was working on a demo called Living Like Hustlers, which was damn near like 80% done. The actual album that came out was actually like 80% done. And Eazy got at us and was like, I want to sign y'all. We went out on Straight Outta Compton tour, seen his whole layout, seen he was real serious because he was like, I know y'all selling drugs, I know y'all moving around in the streets and y'all making crazy money, but this is gonna change y'all life. And at that time, Eazy was like, hey man, y'all need to shut that shit down, or y'all need to go be in the streets and end up in prison or dead. Here's an alternative, here's an option. He gave us that. We saw his layout, we saw that what he was doing was true. And that began the birth of, you know, what everyone knows Above the Law and Kokane. So, and then Kokane comes in through me introducing him to Eazy and Laylaw, you know. After I got my cousin, he's dope. He got this crazy style. It's off the Richter. They decided to do a 3-song demo with him. It blew their mind. From there, that was the birth of Kokane.